Hello, hello. So why did I decide to get tested and diagnosed to really, right, to treat my ADHD? Well, before I didn't know I had that. So what really leads to that is because something very bad happened to my life. I was in a very bad moment. I really like downhill to the whole black hole, a dark moment. And I started noticing something was wrong. I was alone, right? So I was connecting the dots, and I started researching videos. I was thinking, why I'm forgetful, why I'm so clumsy sometimes, why this, why that, a lot of whys, and I was trying to find answers, right? And I started watching videos on YouTube. I started researching, right, reading, and I found this video in Portuguese in Brazil. Was, I think, as a doctor talking about autism and other stuff, and about ADHD. And this video showed me something very interesting that I'm gonna tell you right now. But before, I would like to thank you for watching my videos. This is my very second video. If you haven't watched, please watch the first video. I'll put at the end the card somewhere here in this one. I'm Mauricio. I'm 39 years old. I was diagnosed with ADHD 4 years ago. So I lived 35 years of my life with this symptom, with all the symptoms of ADHD. And now my life is much better. I succeed. I feel I'm a successful person. So you can be as well. So this is my mission. I think it's time for me to help people, to share my experiences. And yeah, anything I think would help, because I didn't get external help. People, it was very difficult for me. So yeah, I see a lot of people with questions and doubts and how to support a family member who might be ADHD as well, or any other comorbidities, and so that's my mission. So I hope you hope you enjoy. You can put any comments, any questions, and I'm more than happy to help. So back to the video. So I found this video on YouTube where he explained the process of doing the assessment for ADHD. It's basically, there is a kind of a standard questionnaire, and then he was doing together. So he was making the question, he had a kind of a blackboard, and he was writing there. And basically the questionnaire is like, you rank the questions from 1 to 5. So less likely to more likely, or very often, or something like that. And I don't remember how many questions now, but it's like 40 questions, let's say. And they are divided into two groups of questions. One is more related to interpersonal stuff, and the other is more related to executive function stuff, let's say. So questions are kind of, the ones I remember now, is like, how often you interrupt people when they're speaking, when they're talking, and then you put there. How often you forget things, you forget your keys, you lose your keys, or you forget a date, you forget a time. How often you do things that could be, I think, embarrassing, but you do in front of people, or you don't have the feeling of embarrassment or something like that. So things like that. Or do you get confused with stuff, or things about like, are you clumsy? Things like that. I don't remember exactly all the details, right? But I remember that at the end, this video, most of the questions, I would say, if it's 38 questions, 35 for me, I really, very honest answers, was 5, was the maximum score. Excuse me. And the recommendation is, if at the end of the questionnaire you have a certain amount of answers that has more than 3 points, right? 3 or more, it's very likely you might have something. So please go and seek help from a doctor with experience and etc. And mine was all the questions basically. I answered more than 5 actually. So yeah, so then I started researching for doctors. I started researching actually for doctors with experience on ADHD. Well, I didn't have much information, but that's what I was trying to do. I live here in New Zealand, in case you don't know, or I mentioned in the other video as well. And I found a doctor that he says he's the super specialized on ADHD. He's the ADHD guy in the country. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna book with him. And something a bit weird happened. So he's super busy. So it was on October, I think, or September, when I started searching on October. And the next booking for him was mid-January, then the next year. So around 3 months later. And I was so anxious. I want to do something fast, But okay, I pre-booked. But then 1 week later, or a few days later, I found another doctor, which is Brazilian. That was good. Which had the time for the next week. So I booked him. And I went to him and explained my story, everything. And the assessment was very, let's say, easy. He also gave me a questionnaire, even though everything I told him was kind of clear what the issue could be. And I don't enter in details of medication and stuff, but he kind of told me that usually there is two approaches. We can treat this with an antidepressant or a stimulant, usually stimulant. And then he was thinking, by your profile, by your things, and etc. You don't need antidepressant, but stimulant. That would be best option for you. And then he prescribed me one medication to try for a week or two, and I tried, and wow, it changed everything. I didn't like that particular medication, but just having a medication, it helped. Sorry, I got sick in my life. My voice is a bit. Okay, I'm back. And that helped a lot. But just coming back a little bit about the first appointment I did. So this doctor, the first doctor, is a super duper doctor who treats people with ADHD. And remember I told something about ADHD that's very known, that's very common ADHD people. We are disorganized. We are not organized. We forget things. We forget what? Appointments. And I forgot that I had an appointment with him in January, months later. And you know what was good? They didn't send any alert. They didn't send any notification. They didn't send any reminder. When they contact me on the day of the appointment saying that I didn't show, and they send me a bill to pay 50%, which is their penalty for no-show. And that time the appointment was nearly $600. So I need to pay nearly $300. And I feel angry. I feel that's not fair. You treat people with certain kind of issue. You're certain that they might gonna forget about the appointment, and they will, and then you charge them. Oh, I was so pissed off. Anyway, this other doctor, he charged a little bit less. The one who assessed me, he gave me the diagnosis, so it was cheaper. It worked well. And that was good. So, and I did not only, so those doctors are psychiatric, but that wasn't the only help that I searched for. Another help that I searched is therapy. So I found a therapist which is more specialized into cognitive behavioral therapy, which was the perfect type of skill, let's say, as a therapy for me, because the behavioral, again, sorry, I need to read here. So the cognitive behavioral therapy, they work more on changing, let's say, reprogram the meanings that you have already programmed in your brain. So all the, you believe that something is that, but then they help you to understand that perhaps you can understand that in a different way, right? So everything, so perceptions of yourself that put your self-esteem down, or that makes you feel sad, make you feel a loser, things like that. How you perceive others, how you understand the world, how you interpret people who does bad to you, everything. So this was very crucial. This was, I think, a part of the medication. This part was super, 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 super important. So that's my advice. If you need help, go for at least these two areas. Search for a psychiatric with experience on ADHD and a therapist, preferably with experience on ADHD, or even one that is ADHD, so they know by themselves what to do, like how things works. Because this really helps. And don't stop. Don't think that I had enough and I don't take more medication. I don't do more therapy. Like with my therapist, at the beginning I was doing 2 sessions per week because it was very critical. I was in a situation that was really, really bad. And I talked to her every week since then. So for 4 years, I have therapy every week. I'm not saying that everyone needs. I need because I had so much issue in my life, so much trauma, so much mental abuse that it's hard to heal. So I start a new relationship, a bit of conflict, that's natural in any relationship. So every stage of your life, every year, there is always something new. A new job, a new relationship, children. There is always something, right? So that's why, at least for me, I think it's very important, and I think worth it, having a therapist that you trust and that really helps. And there is a saying, when a therapist is good, every time you talk to them, even though you don't bring anything, you feel a change, you feel something different. If you don't feel something different or some changes or some impact when you finish the session, maybe it's time to talk to another therapist. Not because the other is not good, but it's not doing anything for you. And my last tip is I do therapy with a Brazilian therapist in Brazil. So I do via WhatsApp. For two big reasons. First is the culture. So we have the same culture background. So the way we discuss, also the language, right? So I can express, and our background is similar, so things makes easy to understand, and it's cheaper, right? The Brazilian currency is 3 times less than New Zealand, so it helps. So depending on which country you are, if money is a problem, you can try other countries. Let's say they speak English. Let's say Malaysia, they speak English. You might find something there. So it's just a tip. It's just an advice that might work for you. So that's my conclusion, guys. I'll wrapping up here. Yeah, that's my advice. Please seek help, talk to people. Nowadays we have internet, we have YouTube, so many social medias, so many contents. We have AI. Don't stay alone. Don't feel alone. Ask, even the influencer you follow, whatever. Ask questions. If you don't like the doctor you went, go to another. Invest a bit on your health. Don't think that putting money with medical treatment is a waste of money, because if you take note of how much money we usually waste nowadays in our modern times, right? With coffees that we don't need, buying hobbies right? You don't need that. It's not something that you really need to survive, to live. So sometimes you don't spend money with something. Spend on yourself, on your health. You fix your health. If you improve, if you are good, if you're happy, everyone around you will be happy. Even more with the ADHD, which usually are fun people, happy people, high vibe people. So if you're like that, you're gonna make everyone around you in the same frequency, which is very good. So that's my topic for today's video. If you like so far, please hit the like button. And a question for you: Have you had similar experience? Have you found a good doctor that could assess you quickly and easy? And did you struggle to find a doctor, or did you end up like a doctor like me that I booked, I forgot, and I had to pay, and they didn't notify me that I had a booking with them? So it's a bit weird, right? Have you had an experience like this? Please put in the box, in the comment below. And yeah, I'm interested to read. Or any questions also you might have, just put down below. I'll read. And yeah, and hope to share more of my stories with you. See you in the next video. Bye bye. Enjoy your life, because I'm joining mine.